our entree to the world of culture, gender, sexuality, tradition, business, and so much more. Hi, I'm Regina Gershman.
And I'm Dr. Sam Dubé. Together, we're going to take you on an extraordinary journey with engaging people from around the world, starting from right here in Ottawa, the capital of Canada.
Hello, everyone, to another fabulous edition of the Etiquette Show. Today we have an amazing guest, Michelle Frankel for NYCity Matchmaking, NYCity Matchmaking. She's going to be talking to us about the dating scene in New York. Fabulous insight on how people who are involved in online dating can get away from sort of the craziness going on online dating to contemplate matchmaking. So we're going to be having all kinds of fabulous and interesting insights from Ms. Michelle Frankel today. So take it away, Ruth.
Hi, it's Ruth from the Etiquette Show, and let me tell you a little bit more about our guest today. Michelle is a former attorney and marketing executive who developed a following and successfully pursued her true calling of connecting people. Michelle graduated from Washington University in St. Louis and lived in Japan for a few years before earning her law degree from George Washington University Law School. Michelle is featured and interviewed frequently by national media, including New York Times, New York Post, Interview, Fortune, CNN, Fox News, Bethany Talk Show, and numerous print and online publications. She is now an executive professional matchmaker, dating coach, and founder of NYCity Matchmaking and New Jersey Matchmaking. In the industry for 11 years, Michelle's focus is bespoke, personalized matchmaking, strategic date coaching, and effective online dating assistance. Her clients are celebrities, CEOs, executives, lawyers, doctors, finance professionals, both men and women, ranging from age 23 to 75 from all across the country, with a local emphasis on New York City, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. In her own proactive pursuit of finding love, Michelle was the national relationship columnist for a global online dating company and ultimately met her husband online. Michelle is using what she learned to help others achieve their dreams and avoid the landmines of dating. Let us all welcome our Chief Love Officer, Michelle Frankel.
Awesome, Michelle Frankel. Thank you very much for joining us today. We're anxious to learn about, NYCity Matchmaking, what it's all about, but we're also interested in wanting to learn about what your sort of perspectives on how the dating scene has changed and evolved in New York City. What sort of insights do you have as a professional matchmaker? What insights do you have in terms of how people can navigate and how dating has changed in New York City as far as the pandemic and people meeting who are looking for serious relationships?
First of all, Ray and Ruth, thank you so much for having me on your show today. And I'm looking forward to a very productive conversation on that dating, love, and life, and how we could help people maybe make those connections, which is so important today more than ever before. And Ray, you hit the nail on the head. Dating and being single today has changed so much in New York City and in cities all around the United States and the world, frankly, over the last 2 years. The last 18 months, we've all been kind of in a lockdown, and I think it's given everyone a pause to really evaluate what's important in their lives. And especially if you are single and you don't have that partner, it was a challenging time even if you had a partner. But if you didn't have a partner, it was equally challenging all that time by yourself to think about what are your priorities. Perhaps you've spent so much of the last decade focused on your career, and then everyone goes in lockdown and you realize really what's the most important thing in your life is to have a relationship, someone you can come home to at night, someone during a lockdown you can spend quality time with and grow with. So I think New York singles over the last 18 months have really shifted their priorities, and that shift has gone to really trying to find those connections.
Awesome. Yeah. So as you mentioned, the pandemic, people are stressed out. They start to focus more sort of introspection, what's important in life, and maybe evolving away from just into a perspective of casual dating to actually finding someone who they can find a meaningful spiritual sort of connection with. And so in terms of sort of insights you have, like how successful, like in terms of people you're meeting in terms of NYCity matchmaking, like people who are just coming to you, what kind of stories are they sharing with you that has made them want to sort of pursue more sort of an authentic relationship? Are people kind of tried online dating? Are they kind of stressed out with the pandemic? Like, what are kind of the insights you're getting from people who are drawn to wanting to finally connect with more authentic relationships?
Well, I think the number one thing that I've heard from all the clients and all the singles who have reached out over the last year is clearly what's at the forefront of everyone's mind is protecting our health, right? And because protecting our health is so important, people aren't dating casually anymore. People aren't, quick to be intimate, quick to kiss people, quick to go to bed with someone. And conversation has truly become the new sex, which is kind of amazing. So we're reverting back to a 40s, 1950s courtship, where really you're courting people and really getting to know people. And you're having the conversations, seeing if your values are aligned and you connect first, both intellectually on a value platform and spiritually. And then if the connection is there on the most important fundamental values, then it's progressing to an intimate relationship. But it's really reverted back to an old-fashioned courtship, which is amazing because it's making people pause and not be, what's the next date? What's the next date? Bigger, better deal. They're really focusing on what's in front of them. And the key term here is they're dating with intention. That is the word of the year, intention. It's not this casualness anymore. And as a matchmaker, that makes me so happy, right? Because people are dating with intention.
Oh yeah, so definitely. I mean, it's definitely a sort of a transformation back to the sort of the values of the 40s and 50s, where there was much more thoughtfulness that went into who your romantic partner was going to be. So definitely, it's been sort of evolution and away from that sort of just meeting at the bar that we used to do with the pandemic and at the nightclubs. There's definitely been sort of an evolution that way. And I guess one of the things which I've noticed is the phenomena is the video dating. Does your service have, I guess, is video dating a part of the initial contact that people have before they have an actual in-person experience?
That's a great question. So I think nothing replaces meeting in person, right? You've got to be in person to see that chemistry. However, because of the pandemic and also because of winter, frankly, and snowstorms and inclement weather during the pandemic, it was a great way, rather than to use the phone, have a video date, right? It's a great initial screening. Is there physical attraction? You can look at someone and see if you find, let's be real, right? Physical attraction is important. And if it's not there, it often is hard to get to the next level. But through a video date, you could see if there's a physical attraction, and you can also see their tone, hear their voice, and really get to know them. So it is a great initial screening. However, eventually that has to progress to an in-person date. Also, it has allowed people to date in different geographies by doing video dating, right? If people weren't getting together in person anyway, it didn't matter where you lived. So during the pandemic, there have been a lot of relationships that has blossomed into different geographies that otherwise might not have.
So do you have any sort of experience of any client? Like what's the farthest that you know of a sort of a long distance relationship sort of blossoming? Do you have any, are there like people from LA, or is it like we're talking more like Jersey or like Boston? Like how far has it gone?
Right, I'm not sure I consider Hoboken, New York City long distance, although many people might. You've got to take the subway. But I'm talking more, actually, you nailed it, LA to New York. I've seen several relationships relationships happen because also a lot of people who live in LA are transplants from New York, and they have kind of the same urban personality.
So how does if someone is in LA and if someone is in New York, like what is sort of what would you advise those them to do in terms of when they actually meet? Because from my experience, I have had better like experiences when the actual two people are meeting midway at least, rather than the guy traveling all the way over to meet the lady. Because I find that even though it seems to be chivalrous in my mind, the guy is like, oh, that loser traveled all the way to see me in LA. What a loser! He should have stayed in New York. Like, what is your advice to for anybody, guys, ladies who are wanting to negotiate? How do you actually meet each other if they've been doing sort of an online video chat from a distance from each other?
That is a really great point. And yeah, it would be ideal if two people could meet somewhere halfway in between. However, if you're talking about LA and New York, you're going to meet in like St. Louis, Missouri or something, in the middle of the country. That may not work that well. Usually what is often a great idea is for one of the people to make the trip based on something else, maybe visiting family or a business. So there's not so much pressure on the two people. They're going there anyway. They're going there for a business meeting. They're going to meet friends or family, and just meeting each other is another thing on top of their plans already. That alleviates all the pressure that I'm coming across the country just for you. So that makes both people feel better, I think.
Awesome.
That's a great idea.
Yes, a great idea. I actually, when you mentioned that, when you started mentioning that, that's when I found that to be a very good point, because if I'm going to travel a distance, if the other person feels that they're not just coming to see you, that you have other things to do, they're not going to think you're a loser, and they're going to think, okay, that seeing them is going to be a bonus on top of activities that they already plan to do anyway. So this becomes a no stress situation rather than, oh, they're coming all the way to see me sort of thing.
Exactly. It takes the stress out of the equation, and neither side of the equation has that, oh, I'm doing all this effort, or the pressure, oh, it better work. It's just an added bonus for both sides.
So I noticed that NYCity Matchmaking, you're not just involved in matchmaking, you actually have a variety of different services, including online dating type services. So somebody who is in online dating, I guess they can come to you and get their profile improved and their image improved. If they have a bad picture, you offer advice for online daters as well?
Absolutely. My goal in life, and what I'm passionate and my team's passionate about, is just to help people get to their goals of making connections and meeting whoever their future partner is. And you never know how that's going to happen. It can happen organically on the street, serendipity. That's rare. It happens in the movies, but less so today, especially during a pandemic. And then there's utilizing a matchmaker, and we could talk about that more. And then the majority of people today use online dating. It's the lowest hanging fruit opportunity-wise to meet other people. You're sleeping and you're being self-marketed by having a profile online. So one of the services that we provide is we make sure you have a stellar profile. Bottom line is, it's a marketing piece, right? And often I'm shocked by the marketing piece that people put up there. I'm like, who are you trying to attract, right? Are you really trying to attract a partner? Because, whether you're posing in front of a car or with a shirt off, or women who are not dressed appropriate, like, who are you trying to attract, right? So you need to have really great photos. It could be taken by a friend who is artistic and good with a camera, or you could hire a professional photographer. We have a team photographer, and I always tell him, I want photos outside. I want them to look like your best friend took them in nature with interesting backdrops. The backdrop is just as important as the photo itself. I want nature. I want trees. I want brick walls. I want you to do something. I don't want to look at pictures of your pets. I don't want pictures of food. It's not Instagram. It should be pictures of just you, a face shot, a full body shot, and you doing something interesting that allows me to ask you a question. Where was that taken? Where were you traveling? Oh, you like to play tennis. So do I. So it's a conversation starter. The second thing we do is we make sure you have a great profile. We have a professional writer on our team, and they interview our clients and then write an amazing profile that's witty and engaging and fun and light and bright, and doesn't use all the cliches that you read in every single profile. It stands out and it attracts people to write them. And then finally, we actually have a service that is quite amusing, where some of our clients are so busy, they don't have time for online dating. It's a full-time job. If you're going to do online dating, it's a time suck. And so some of our clients hire us to be their own virtual dating assistant, where we become Cyrano de Bergerac, and we're writing for them behind the scenes and doing all the emails or all the swiping. And our job is to create a pipeline of opportunities. And we tell our clients, expect a phone call. Here's Susan's phone number, call her. We don't make phone calls, and we can't go on the dates for our clients. That's where they jump in. But we do all the emailing and the banter behind the scenes, so they don't have to get caught up in the, all the foreplay, so to speak.
So you're like isn't that an amazing service, Ruth? That's like a
It's like a
virtual
screening.
assistant.
Yeah, you have a screening partner, and then you just show up for the meeting. Set an appointment for me.
Because there's a lot of people I know that are fabulous and okay with in-person meeting and they're social, but I find with online dating, it's a certain culture where ghosting happens and catfishing and all sorts of weird stuff. And if you can have somebody who's an expert on how to respond in this sort of unique sort of environment of online dating, then that's going to minimize that sort of ghosting kind of thing.
Absolutely. You don't have to deal with all the nonsense. We just get the vetted introductions offline. Look, there's 3 types of chemistry, right? There's writing chemistry. You could have good banter. There is video or in-person chemistry, and there's phone chemistry, but the only one that really matters is the in-person chemistry, right? Once 2 people get side by side and see if there's a physical connection and an intellectual and everything else, there's chemistry together. So for a lot of people, they go back and forth and they text, and then they meet in person and they're like, oh, So we take away all of that, so they don't have to worry about the and they just get to the last step and they determine if it's a match.
So for anybody who is watching this, because we're also available online, for anybody who's watching this in Miami or San Diego or even Paris, anybody in the world can come to you and get this service, or just for New Yorkers?
No, we have clients in Israel, Mexico, California, Florida, Colorado, Oklahoma, like all across. We can help anyone anywhere with their online profiles.
So you'll fix their bio, you'll get to give them advice on their photo, and be able to, and in terms of like the actual contact part, would you just be like receiving and replying, or would you actually be, as a part of the virtual assistant service, basically taking over the profile and contacting people? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so we are writers, and our team interviews the clients. We get to know them really well, what they're looking for, and we also learn about who they are, so we know how to respond. And every week we do a search for them and find people that fit what they're looking for, so they don't have to spend their valuable time going and searching. We do the search. We send them a link of 10 people, or we swipe on people that we know they're gonna enjoy meeting. And then we do banter. We only do banter back and forth twice. The key is to get it offline. No one wants a pen pal. So we email them, or they email our client. We go back and forth, and then we take it offline, and we alert our clients, either call or expect a call, and then our clients take over.
So they just need to worry about, like, oh, Joe, you have like a date schedule at so-and-so cafe at 12 o'clock Saturday. Make sure you come out sharp. So is that how it works?
Yeah, well, like that? We let them schedule their own dates, because we don't know, calendars are always changing, but we say, we'll tell our client, John, this is what you and Susan spoke about. And we copy and paste the conversation, which is, again, maybe 4 back and forth, superficial banter. We attach the profile of who they're going to be speaking to, and we give the phone number and say, okay, call the person. So we line up a pipeline of opportunities, and they take over from there.
Okay, so you get the phone number. Okay, so because then you could have a situation, I'm thinking that you do everything perfectly, then Joe takes over before you get the number, and he just says some stupid thing like, meet me at the park at 9 p.m. and just screws the whole thing. So you'll chaperone the process up to the number, and then he will, whatever, do, phone them.
And they take over at that point.
Okay.
And you're right? Sometimes things have gone south at that we can't help, but we are here to coach our clients. So in the off event, it does go south afterwards. We kind of review with them what they should have done and what could have gone better.
Okay, awesome. So it's definitely, so it's very much a holistic service. So you have that sort of dating coach. So did you have dating coach? You have online sort of consulting, and this whole sort of virtual assistant process, so to speak. And then you also have the actual matchmaking. So how is that process kind of different? Somebody would come, you would interview them over the phone, and they would become a client. So how does that sort of process work as far as the matchmaking?
I actually just finished a consultation a few minutes before I joined us. And someone gets on our calendar for a consultation. It's about an hour and a half, and we do a deep dive in who they are, what they're looking for. We go into their childhood, past relationships, what they're looking in for a partner, what they're currently doing, what their end goal is, which is the most important. Do they want marriage? Do they want a long-term relationship? Are they looking for build a family? And we find out also what have been their obstacles. Why are they not getting to their goals? And, sometimes people are very self-aware, and they know maybe they were working too much. Maybe they were uber picky for 10 years. Now they're older and they're not getting the dates they once got. And we really analyze what are the must-haves in their partner and what are the deal breakers. And then once we talk about all that, if they decide to be proactive in their search, they can hire our services, which is a bespoke, personalized matchmaking, where me and my team, we have a humongous network, over 10,000 singles in our private network, where we start interviewing and screening people on behalf of our clients. I always tell our clients, we go on a date with them before they go on a date. So we see them, we vet them, we screen them, we ask them the tough questions. Do you have any addictions? Do you have bankruptcy issues? Why did you get divorced? Why didn't your last relationship work? Are you too close with your family? Are you not close enough with your family? So we get into all of these really deep questions. And then when we find someone who we think is a super match for our client, we'll make an introduction. We'll tell our client all about the person. We'll tell them about our client. And then we concierge the date and say, okay, Tuesday, 8 o'clock, St. Ambrose, you're going to be there. And then 2 people show up, they have a date. And then after the date, we get feedback from both sides, which you never get in real life, right? You never know. You think the date went amazing, and you never get that call. And you're like, wait, that was the best date of my life. Well, we find out why. So we get feedback from both sides. We share the feedback, and assuming both people want to go out again, then we remove ourselves and let the gentleman take over and ask the lady on a second date. Now, if the feedback is not reciprocal, we find out why, and then we'll look for a new match for our client.
Well, the feedback is definitely important because, like you said, you can think you have an amazing date, and maybe maybe you just did something that the other person thought was a red flag. It's good to find that feedback so you can grow as a person and learn any lessons of that particular experience.
Yeah, and sometimes it's such a small fix, right? Like everyone's different and everyone has different preferences. Maybe a woman doesn't like a gold necklace, on a guy, or maybe the guy, left the check out in the middle of the table too long and it became an awkward feeling and the woman just wished he pushed it to the side. There are so many small nuances and fixes that can happen. Maybe a guy thought the woman didn't ask him any follow-up questions, ask him what he felt or what he thought, and kind of just talked about herself the whole evening. So we're able to coach both sides and kind of bridge the differences.
Awesome. Well, it's definitely important to bridge the differences. And what about diversity? Because, for example, I'm Jewish, and what about Jewish guys like myself who are interested in meeting Jewish ladies? Like, how do you sort of, I guess you accommodate the different diversities, people who are wanting to focus on certain sort of cultural, religious affinities as well?
Absolutely. Everyone has different preferences, religious, ethnicity, height, physicality, whatever it may be. And we listen to our clients. If they have, especially religion is important because that's like how you live your life and your fundamental values. So if someone wants to date someone of the same faith or of a different faith, we'll listen to them and then we'll recruit and screen those people that fit within their criteria. However, as a coach for our clients, our job is also to take away obstacles. So if someone is being too narrow in their scope, which is really handicapping them from meeting someone, that's our job to at least make them aware of that. Like, do they really need to date someone? You're 5'2", do you really need to date someone 6 foot? Why can't you date someone 5'8"? He's an amazing person. So that's our job, to really open their eyes and try to really focus on what is the must have.
Oh, so you help them with their priorities, so that, because maybe they're just too nitpicky. I got to meet someone who's like blonde and 6'5", or I got to meet someone who's like, a military guy who's in uniform, only like military guys. So you help people sort of expand their mind and open their mind and say, wait a second, maybe I was just being too fixated. So you help with that as well.
Absolutely. Like me personally, my husband's a vegetarian. Ironically, I'm more vegetarian now than I've ever been. But when I met him, I ate meat, I ate chicken, I ate everything. And I was like, well, when I met him, I was like, a vegetarian? What do I do with a vegetarian? And now I'm more a vegetarian. So, you just figure out what's really important in a partner.
And what about in terms of, because, New York City is a diverse place. What about for also LGBTQ communities? You sort of accommodate to people who are like lesbian, gay, transgender. So that's part of your clientele as well?
It's not part of our clientele just because, unfortunately, it's like a chicken and an egg thing. We don't have the network. And many clients have come to us and I was like, oh, I want to help you so much, but I don't have anyone to introduce you to. So I usually refer them to my colleagues who focus on that niche. However, I've always wanted to there are so many people I wish I could help, but unfortunately, I just never started it where I don't have the network to introduce them. But I have a lot of colleagues I can refer LGBTQ to.
And in terms of like the virtual assistant service, if they like wanted to sort of help with their dating profile, I guess a part of your network, you might be able to offer as a part of the network people who can help out with people's profile who may be lesbian or gay or whatever, transgender. You could help out with that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's no issue. I just, like, when people come to me for matchmaking, again, I wish I started it. It's always been the first person came to me. I was like, oh, I wish I could help you. I don't have any gay people to introduce you to. So I would refer out. And I probably 10 years ago started a whole niche, but I didn't.
Yeah, well, that's definitely an advantage of being a part of the network, because you can build from each other's strength as a community and help each other, and that way, through that synergy, help clients even sort of more.
Exactly. And so I have great colleagues, one that's their sole focus. So I usually just make an introduction and she takes great care.
One of the questions I have to go, because we're talking about the sort of the image consultant and what an amazing job you do in terms of online dating. I definitely conceive of, guys out there who struggle, friends, they're great people, but they just don't know how to handle online dating. They're having problems in meeting people. But from my experience, there's like ladies are inundated with like 5 billion guys contact them in one day. There is like, so what is the big challenge with ladies? Are they like trying to discern all these crazy guys and finding out who's the right guy? Like, what is the challenge that a lady would have who is having just so many men contacting them anyway? Like, what sort of is the number one help that they need in terms of improving their profile that you find in terms of your experience?
Well, I think with women, what I'm hearing women tell me that is their biggest obstacle, and what I think women can do, they're two different things. But one of the challenges I hear women tell me often is they get all these emails. You're exactly right. But most of them just say, hey. And women are like, what do I do with that? Like, and then they say, hey, back. And then the person says, hey, again. And it's like, really? So I think women are really struggling with finding the quality of men that they're looking for online, who are really taking the time to focus, where a lot of men seem to do the spaghetti approach, where they copy and paste the same exact sentence and send it to 40 people, and it's not genuine, right? It's not authentic. They didn't look in their profile and say something specific to them about what they wrote. So I think women are a little frustrated with not getting that personalized, kind of thoughtful email. As for what women can do to improve, they could do the same thing. I think that goes both ways. I think women, email people as well, men as well, and just kind of do random sentences. I think really being open-minded, expanding their parameters, not having I always tell women clients, do you know what percentage of men are 6 feet and taller in the United States? And they're like, no, what, 40%? And I'm like, no, 11%. So like for women to realize most men in the US are not over 6 feet. I don't know how tall you are, Ray. So
well, I'm 6'2".
There you go. 11%. But so to really get women to open their parameters and give people a chance, right? I think women tend to put more care into their profile than males do. And so, they'll look at a profile quickly and say, yeah, no. And I'm like, dig a little deeper, give it a shot, look at them a little longer. There may be a diamond in the rough. Don't be so quick to just swipe no or delete. Like, take a look and see if the fundamental values that you may look for are there.
So what do you think of all this, Ruth, all this, dating scene in the world of matchmaking?
Well, I'm curious because Michelle met her husband online, she mentioned, so I would like to know about that story.
So how was that experience? So you met your husband online. So do you have sort of any insights for people who are looking for the type of positive relationship and the open-mindedness you had in terms of meeting your husband who's vegetarian? Because some people might say, oh, I don't want to date vegetarian, but you had a meaningful, strong relationship. So what sort of advice could you have for people who want to have the same kind of amazing relationship that you and your husband have?
Right. So one thing is, ironically, we're both pretty much morning people, and I think he emails me at like 5 in the morning when most people aren't online doing dating apps, this was a long time ago. We met on Match.com, and his opening line was like, the early bird gets the worm.
Okay.
I think for a second he said, talk dirty to me, or your sexy talk is overwhelming, or whatever. 5 a.m. And we quickly got offline. We went back and forth twice. I think he said something, I said something, back and forth, and he said, are you up for grabbing coffee or drink or whatever? And what we did, and what I always encourage all of our clients to do is, it's so easy to do the dinner or the drink, and you sit across from someone, and it's, after a while, it becomes an interview. Not to mention, it gets really expensive for the men, right? I mean, if men pay for the dinners all the time, and not that expectation should be there, but that's expensive to keep on taking people out to dinner over and over. I always encourage people to do an activity. So my first date with my husband, we met at the Trump building on Fifth Avenue. This was way before he was president. And we took a walk in Central Park. We grabbed, there was a Starbucks, so we grabbed coffee and we walked in the Central Park for an hour. And you know what? It wasn't an interview. I didn't learn anything about his job. I didn't know anything. Like, we didn't ask the typical questions because we were busy looking at all the people watching around us. So we just kept on like, look at that, look at that, look at that statue, look at this. There was so much to talk about just people watching that at the end of the day, I didn't know if he was going to be my husband. I just knew I had a good time. I'll do it again. And so I think people who go on dates today are trying to be too efficient. You know, they get there, they're like, yes or no. And you know what? How do you know? How can you judge someone in an hour to know if they're your future? I mean, that's really harsh. Don't you think?
Yeah, well, I find that like, you know, like the whole sort of Tinder culture, for lack of a better word, swipe to the left, swipe to the right. People are just sort of quick to like decide in a second whether, based upon superficiality, whether something is right for them or not. And it's not, and is taking away from the type of authentic relationship that you can actually find someone that you connect with. So I think that's very important, you know, that sort of people to be open-minded and be, you know, to the possibilities. Because just like when you say the early bird gets the worm, maybe that wouldn't have been if you were doing that dating profile, maybe you wouldn't have said that. But the fact that you were sort of open-minded, maybe this guy just has a interesting, quirky sense of humor. I would still like to get to know him more. That open-mindedness is very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, not to have, I always tell people, it's not Amazon shopping. It's not paint by colors, right? If you do paint by colors, you're going to set yourself up for failure. There is no perfection. There is no Amazon shop. You can't shop for someone. You can't create exact. And frankly, even if you could, you would be disappointed, right? That doesn't work.
Awesome. Well, that's a great point. I mean, is, you know, this dating and finding a person that you're sort of connected with is more than just like a shopping experience. Well, because I find with online dating that there's a group what I call the serial daters. I mean, they're just like going through, okay, you know, like there's this one person I heard about. I mean, they're like dating apparently like 400 people in 1 year. I mean, it's like a revolving door. I bet you never heard about anything like that. It means that some days you're dating 2 people in 1 day.
Yes, I've actually heard about that quite often. There are some people, they're on a mission, and the problem is when you put yourself up to that. And I'm guilty too. When I was single and I was in my 30s and I was in Manhattan, I was, you know, I wanted to get to my goal. And sometimes I did have 2 dates a day. And what I realized, I quickly stopped myself because I was like, you know what? I'm not focusing and I'm not seeing what's right in front of me. And I'm not seeing the trees through the forest, you know? And if I just take a breather and really focus on each and every person, maybe they're not the right match, but I'll never know if they are the right match if I'm going at the pace I'm going, you know? Like I'm not giving, and you can't possibly figure someone out in an hour. It's impossible. Yes, physicality you can. Am I attracted to the person? I'll give, you know, of course you could figure that out, but there's so much more after that. And frankly, for women, attraction can grow. Men, less so, from based on all my anecdotal experience of 11 years, but for women, it definitely grows.
So that's definitely an awesome point. So if, in terms of like going back to the virtual sort of assistance service you provide to an online dating profile, if you're sort of doing that on behalf of a lady, for example, and then you're greeted with these sort of hey type of responses or these cut and paste messages, would you kind of just say, okay, that's just a guy's just wasting time, it's superficial, or would you look at their profile and then try to pursue them and maybe there's something more there? Like, how would you handle those type of guys where you were just giving those cut and paste routine or those kind of the hey kind of replies to a lady's profile that you're managing?
So if we're managing a woman's profile and they get one of those copy and paste that are not personalized, you can tell when it's not authentic. Nonetheless, we're gonna, it's not our preference, but since this is our job is just to manage their profile. We're of course gonna look at their profile. I realize people do it to be efficient, right? Since our job is just to create opportunities and connections. If they have a good profile otherwise, of course, we're going to dig deeper. Now, if we respond to them and say, oh, thanks for reaching out, and ask them a question, and they respond back and say, hey, then at that point, we're like, okay, enough, But if they can respond back in a thoughtful, articulate way, then we'll continue the conversation.
So is there any sort of points, perspectives, issues, insights that you wanted to share that you weren't able to share yet with us in terms of, your services that you provided, you wanted to highlight, or any insights on dating, online dating or otherwise?
Yeah, well, a couple things. First of all, any of your audience that is single and listening, definitely go to our website because anyone can join our network for free. It's a free database. So there is nothing to lose, right? You become part of our database. And when we're looking for matches on behalf of our clients, we may reach out to you and it's totally complimentary if you're a match for one of our clients. So you can join our free database by going to www.NYCityMatchmaking.com or NewJerseyMatchmaking.com and join our database. Why not? Like you never, you have nothing to lose, and we always welcome free members. If you decide you want to be proactive and make this a priority, you're always welcome to set up a consultation as well. The other points I'd bring about dating in general is don't give up hope, because I know it's really hard for a lot of singles, especially during a time of a pandemic and being alone, and also during the winter months, it gets really tough. And what I always tell people, it only takes one, and if you keep your spirit up and your eyes open, it just takes one. And really market yourself. Talk to your friends and family. Let them know you're looking and that you want to be introduced to people. Make sure you're utilizing online dating platforms. And there are great sites like a meetup.com to join different activities that you might not otherwise meet people. It's all about expanding your network. And the more you expand your network, the more likely you'll meet that special person for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Michelle Frankel, for taking the time to talk to us more about NYCityMatchmaking.com. And this wonderful interview today. You provided a lot of tremendous insights in terms of the whole online dating scene. Wonderful services, which I'm sure many of our viewers will be taking advantage of, and including, joining a free database. They have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So thank you very much again, Ms. Michelle Frankel, for taking the time to join us. And thank you on behalf of Ruth as well.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Awesome. And we look forward to having another interview in the future, and hope that you have all kinds of, and I urge everybody out there, make sure you join NYCityMatchmaking.com. Get on, your free profile there and take advantage of all these wonderful services that Ms. Frankel's team is providing. So thank you much on behalf of the Etiquette Show, and look forward to seeing everybody for the next amazing episode.
Hi guys, this is Christina reporting to you in the heart of New York City in the beautiful Times Square with the Etiquette Show. Today we're going to find out how single New Yorkers feel about dating during the pandemic and what trends they have been noticing. Hey guys, this is Sia with the Etiquette Show, and I'm Sam.
And I'm Sabrina.
And how has Corona affected your love life?
Oh boy.
I feel like most of the relationships that I've had have all been online, and there's no one that's local.
Yeah.
I have this app, and it's kind of like Tinder but for teenagers, and I've met so many people on there, so I feel like it's kind of helped because it's easier to connect with people and you have more time to talk.
Yeah.
But seeing people in person,
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. It's not ideal.
So how do you feel about like if a guy just comes into your inbox and slides through your DMs? Is that a yes or no?
I mean, I think it kind of depends like on the guy.
Yeah.
How he looks and like how he approaches and like what he says.
I'm very like, I need to get to know, like, I've had people who like, do you want a boyfriend? I'm like, I don't even know, what is your name? Your name's like Fitzgerald. Like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah. And so if you were meeting people in real life who aren't always over, how would you go about meeting?
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to college this year, so I feel like that's gonna be like a great way to meet people. And then otherwise, it's kind of just like if I see someone cute in the mall, like I'll go up to them and ask for their Snapchat or their number or whatever. Like, I'm super comfortable with that.
Yeah, she's super confident. I am
Yeah,
not.
I
Wait, how do you do that?
I don't know. You gotta just like fake it till you make it. Like I don't really have a lot of self-confidence, but like if you just act like you do, you just gotta go for it.
Yeah. No, you said you didn't have self-confidence, but you have enough to believe in yourself to go for it. Yeah, girl. Oh my god.
The worst they can say is no, and I'll never have to see them again. So
That is
so
true.
true.
Right? Unless it's a coworker.
that's very true.
Gotta get them fired.
Tell me about it.
Find a way.
So, what do you think is something people really value right now in their love life? Convenience or real love?
I feel like right now, it depends on the person on like what stage of your life you're in right now, and like what you're really looking for.
I feel like a lot of it that I'm seeing personally is convenience.
Yeah.
It's because you don't really get to like, I don't know, you don't get that, you're not living in real life, in real time, so you're living in this like, this time, and it's like, people are working from home and things like that, and like, you don't see how it's going to be in the future, so it's like,
I feel like also like our age, it's a lot different. We're still young, so like no one's really looking for anything like I'm gonna get married. So I think right now it's hard to like get around to get people.
Yeah. So, if you had an ideal person, what are the top 3?
Oh, okay. So we go first.
well, they have to be funny, and they have to be, have to be nice. They have to be like caring and sweet. I don't know. It's just be nice, be funny. I'm a very simple woman.
We have to have good morals.
Definitely.
Like you have to be able to care for other people, and funny is also a big thing. And then I know it's gonna sound kind of shallow, but like you have to at least be somewhat attractive. Because like if you think about it, you're not gonna have like a good connection with someone that you're like really repulsed by.
Yeah.
So
What about when we get old and we're all
but then it'll be different because you'll already have built that
and you're already
connection.
loving them.
It's like you already have that connection, but like right now, like you're gonna, like if you think about it, like if you meet someone and they look kind of like grungy, you're not gonna want to talk to them.
She said grungy.
I think it's like if you like me, yes, grungy. What's the right word for that? Like I don't know, just like
grimy or
grimy.
musty.
No, I think everyone's different. We just have different types, you know?
Because I feel like when you really love someone for who they are, you see them as like a more attractive person. I don't know.
But like think about it. Are you gonna go up to someone that looks like he's been wearing the same shirt for the past 3 months and he's got like a beard that he doesn't take care of? Like
I have.
Oh my god. Well, you know what? I think that looks capture people in the beginning, but I think character is what makes them stay. And I feel like maybe if you're not like everyone's type, I feel like you still have a chance. You just have to find a way to like get to know people first and not like depend on looks. I feel like we all have our strengths and our weaknesses, you know?
Yeah. Definitely.
But hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It was a great talk.
Oh, yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Alright, this is the Etiquette Show. Hi guys, this is Steve with the Etiquette Show, and with me I have Madison.
I'm Julian.
And how has Corona impacted your love life?
Hasn't really affected us a whole lot. I actually got COVID a few months back.
Yeah.
Still kissed her with COVID before I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's okay though. Not sick.
Yeah, didn't get sick, no symptoms, no sore throat. And even when we knew, we still slept in the same bed.
So you weren't worried about getting it?
No, it was weird. I didn't get sick at all. I mean, he was sick for a little bit. His cold was worse. He got a cold. It was worse.
Yeah. It was like a mild cold for 3 days. It was like nothing.
Yeah. So she loves you enough to be next to you when you have COVID.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's a relationship. Yeah. And how do you feel like it's affected other people in the world right now?
I'm sure other people are really paranoid about it. And I don't know. I mean, I think everyone's paranoid, worried. We have all these restrictions, so that kind of kills the fun.
So for your dating life, like you guys aren't limited by dates now. You guys don't have to like.
Well, he cooks a lot. He's a great chef, so even for Valentine's, he made spaghetti, and it was like still romantic. So we don't eat out a lot in general. Yeah. And our one favorite place is still open.
Oh, what is it?
It's called Thai Bistro.
Thai Bistro. Okay. Yeah, get that Thai food.
Yeah, it's good.
What about quarantine? Were you guys like separated, or did you guys have to spend more time together?
Well, we're actually from Texas, so we didn't really get quarantined.
Yeah.
They're from Texas. Oh my god. So you guys never had a quarantine? Oh.
Don't worry.
Well, we did. We did. It was tough not seeing each other, but I mean, it's over. So
good for us.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah. I was gonna say it must have made you guys like get closer and appreciate each other more.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
No problem.
Hey guys, this is Studio with the Etiquette Show, and with me I have.
I'm Ella. And I'm Lauren.
And how has Corona impacted your love life?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man.
So me and my boyfriend, we were like apart for like a month. Like we didn't see each other at all. And it honestly made us closer.
How?
Yeah, just because like we didn't see each other all the time. So we had to like talk to each other, like not just be with each other. So it really made us closer. I agree.
Yeah.
It makes quality time more like. Yeah, you really appreciate the little things more and like quality time.
Yeah, man. So you guys both were in relationships before, during, and after? Wow, okay. You have any relationship advice for us? Jesus.
Communication is key. Yeah. Just have communication and have fun.
Yeah. Where did you guys meet your manses? Okay.
In a science class.
So science, is that something you guys are both into or no?
No. Kind of. Just medical.
Yeah?
So yeah, kind of.
You guys were just there to find love, not to learn science, okay? And how do you feel the world is right now in the current love life affairs?
I think that everyone just like needs to remember to always have love in their heart.
Yeah.
And really just think about other people, not just about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, always have love in your heart.
So how do you have love in your heart when it's really hard?
Keep in mind that everybody's going through the same thing. Yeah. Everyone has a different story. You never know what someone's going through.
Yeah.
Just treat others how you want to be treated.
And would you guys say that you've always been in relationships, or has there been like long stages where you would just be single?
Long stages. Yeah.
I feel like I can tell that because you seem like you have so much love in your heart, and it makes sense, you know? Yeah. And to anybody who's having a challenging time meeting anyone right now, they have to go through Tinder, Hinge, it's hard to meet them at events, what advice would you give them?
Just wait. Yeah.
What do you mean wait?
Like someone's gonna come eventually.
Yeah.
And like once they do come, it's gonna be worth it. The wait.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much.
Of course.
Hey guys, this is Studio with the Etiquette Show, and with me I have
Felipe.
And how has Corona impacted your love life?
Well, it was tough at the beginning because of lockdown. I wasn't able to visit my girlfriend. We lived in a bar, so there was no way we could talk to each other, just FaceTime. Luckily, things have changed now, improved with the vaccine, so we get to see each other more, and yeah.
And was it more of a challenge, or did it make you guys appreciate each other more being apart?
Well, it was good because we had time for each other, like time for ourselves. Once in a while, we had like time, like a lot of months to be just us, so it was good.
And what is the biggest change in your relationship since Corona?
I think that we learn to get how to be like how to be not to be dependent to each other. So I think we learned that.
I love that. And do you think your relationship is more strong now because of distance?
Yeah, I think it is. Like, I think we could overcome that. Like, I think we could overcome anything, I guess.
Yeah. And what's your favorite thing about your girlfriend?
Her sense of humor. Yeah. Like, sometimes I'm a little bit grumpy and she'll just say something that makes me feel better. So yeah.
How did you meet her?
My school. I studied in Texas, so I met her there.
Oh, you're all the way from Texas.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And what do you think makes your relationship between you two so great?
Sorry.
I was gonna say, what do you think makes your relationship really great between you two? What do you do specifically that makes it stay together and well?
Well, I think because I'm not from this country and she's from here, like the way we can like teach each other different things that we both don't know. Like she's taken me to a lot of places there in Texas, and I want her to meet my country one day. So, yeah.
Well, I hope it goes well with you both. Thank you. No problem. And there you have it. This is the studio reporting to you in Times Square. Now back to you in the studio.
I know. This is awesome. Oh.